The Tantra of Subāhu's Questions. Chapter 9. Slaying an arhat or one's parents, creating discord in a harmonious sangha, or with malicious intent, drawing blood from a Tathagata. These heinous acts the victor called the 5 deeds with immediate consequences. Deluded people who commit just one of them will not reach attainment in their present aggregates. Destroying a chaitya, slaying a bodhisattva, violating a woman who has exhausted her afflictions, killing a novice student, or coveting and then stealing something owned by the sangha, however great or small. These the Tathagata called the 5 secondary deeds with immediate consequences. A person with corrupt discipline who commits them will experience an eon of suffering in a Vichy hell, and though they strive for mantra siddhis, will not attain them. Those who commit evil in the human realm by mistreating, consigning to flames, or with ill intent throwing into water the volumes of the Tathagata's words, by forsaking the body of teachings, by killing a monk or nun adorned with the full code of training, by killing a holder of lay vows, male or female, or by burning a temple with ill intent, will never reach attainment, no matter their austere practice. Those who intend harm to the 3 jewels, and then commit even a small amount of harm, will be cooked in the hells due to their evil nature. Passing on from there, the force of their actions will lead to rebirth as a human of low caste or an animal. All of this I have explained to you in brief. If someone who has adopted bodhicitta in delusion worships the host of worldly gods, they will find no joy in it, and weaken their mantra siddhis. When, in the realm of humans, those of lucid mind adopt bodhicitta, it is they, thenceforth, who are worthy of worship, by devas, asuras, and all the world. A person who adopts all exalted precepts in full, and who grants fearlessness to all beings, is a representative of the lineage of the 3 jewels. Mantrins should not perform heinous acts, kill a sage, disrupt or cause harm to a Vijja mantra, fail to venerate the mantra assembly out of ill intent, pointlessly pick at grass with their nails, rub their legs together, pierce the noses of cattle herds and the like, fail to respect the noble sangha, or eat gifts to the Bhuttas, oblations to the gods, or food that has fallen on the ground. They should not, when overcome with desire, approach animals or prohibited women. They should not tame elephants or handle snakes, nor whip the flanks of the horse they ride. Those who perform such actions will never receive the siddhis. Mantrins should always cultivate affection for beings who suffer or are beset with disease. Just as the extent of the boundless sky cannot be measured in arm-spans, so it is impossible to gauge the extent of virtue and evil, of the benefit and harm done by those supported by the 3 jewels. If they use nets, traps, or snares to kill beings such as dogs and the like, or if they trap crows and other birds in cages, they will not reach accomplishment in this life or the next. They should neither trample on, nor adorn their heads with, the old discarded flowers of Mara's foe. Nor should they eat the food offered to them, even when they are beset with hunger. Not even in fear should they pay homage to Brahma, Shakra, Vishnu, Rudra, Vayu, and the rest. They should not follow the teachings they propound, practice their austerities, or worship their symbols. They should not harbor animosity to their doctrines, but should never delight in their practice either. They should never praise them or recite their mantras. When giving a gift, they should give with compassion. They should venerate places visited by the Sugata and pay homage to the heirs of the victor. Pracheka Buddhas and the victor's own Shravakas should be the object of their constant veneration. Just as people who venerate a phase of the moon do not venerate the moon in all its fullness, so those who faithfully venerate the victor's heirs are not venerating the Sugata himself. One who holds the most exalted of all the world's precepts is the very embodiment of compassion, taking birth for being's sake. Why would we not venerate them all? They who are as if an only child. A wicked person who does not bow before an astonishing person, rich in miraculous power, will be distrusted by the victors, and will not be granted their mantra siddhis. Just as a tree's flower will at first beguile, and only later transform into fruit, know sublime beings to be like flowers, and the victors to be their fruit. Homage to those who uphold the awakened way, who are naturally free of attachment, yet show compassion to the kind, anger to the angry, and desire to the desirous. Homage to the guides of mantra, who, with knowledge of actions and results, assume the form of mantras that are most suited to every being. This was the 9th chapter of the noble Subāhu's questions. Chapter 10. For the benefit of devas, asuras, and humans, the victor taught the Vijayadhara's basket, various types of Vija and mantra, numbering 30,500,000, to conquer guyakas and remove poverty's misery. I taught 70 million mantras, along with their maṇḍalas and mudras. I have described in detail all who belong to the Vajra clan, the 10 duties, the 7 Vija kings, the 64 servants, my 8 supreme essences, the powerful lords of Vijas, such as Amrita Kundalin and Vijotama, and all who are aligned with their mantras. Avalokiteshvara has likewise taught mantras numbering 3,500,000, including his Lord of Vijas, Hayagriva, and the mandalas that bear his name. 7 forms of Amoga Pasha are taught, one with 12 arms, one with 6, an Ushnisha form, one with a diadem, a fulfiller of wishes, and a 4-faced form. The mantras shine like 7 suns upon the earth. These mandalas and mantras of Hayagriva grant people boons and are revered in the 3 worlds. Tara, Shveta, Pandaravashini, Vipashini, Ekajata, Gauri, Yashovati, and Brikruti, these are the supreme Vija queens of the Lotus clan. Within the vast system of mantra, train in Mekhala, sovereign of Vijas and master of mantras, who takes the form of these diverse mandalas and possesses the various type of mudras, her mantra grants people boons, and even Panchika delights in her. Always in accord with that lord of yakshas, her words describe the collection of mantra. Panchika teaches 20,000. His wife explains half of that. The Lord of Wealth teaches 30,000, while the father of Puna explains 100,000. Devas, Asuras, and the rest who have faith in the victor have explained mantras infinite in number. Some are included within my clan. Some are included in the Lotus clan. Some are included in the Jewel clan, and yet others are circumstantial and variable. The one named Manichara is said to be of the Jewel clan. I am declared to be of the so-called Vajra clan. Avalokiteshvara is of the Lotus clan, and Panchika is in the 4th clan. All I have explained in mantra scriptures can be coordinated with these 4. However, some things are circumstantial and vary in dependence on the Sugatas. Everything in this scripture can be used by those desiring wealth. Mantrins who follow this specific path will attain the siddhis aligned with their mind. Within the 3 existences, the victor is rare and supreme. The Dharma then sprung from him, and his Sangha consisted of the 8 great people. Within the 3 existences, the 3 jewels are preeminent. Because these 3 are the cause of merit's increase, those seeking siddhi should begin their mantras with, "For the sake of merit and to confound Vinayakas, I pay homage to Vajrapāṇi most fierce." I, Lord of Yakshas, have taught this, which is to be placed at the beginning of mantras. It can govern one's own mantra, even if it is of the jewel or lotus clan. Those who are not Sugatas, who follow the paths of Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, who are bereft of faith or are selfish and sanctimonious, should never wield my Vajra. Any monk, nun, male or female lay devotee, or any worldly person who is hostile to the supreme vehicle, says it is the teaching of Maras, in ignorance asserts that I am a yaksha, or does not bow down before a bodhisattva, will see their body swiftly destroyed when they recite my mantras. The grahas who belong to my clan, the bhutas, yakshas, nagas, and pishachas too, will angrily bring them to ruin when they see them reciting my mantra or bearing my vajra. Those who study the vast supreme vehicle, have faith in it, are enthusiastic in its explication, have great diligence, and are resolute in their bodhicitta, will be granted the boons of my mantras. Broadly and extensively, I have explained the mantras belonging to the awakened ones. Listen now as I briefly explain those that are of a worldly type. Rudra has taught 10 million, Vasudeva 30,000, Brahma 60,000, and Surya 300,000. Garuda has taught 18,000, Chandali 8,000, Agni 700, and Trishanku 1,000. The king of Nagas has taught 5,000, Nisha Charapati 12,000, and the 4 lords of the world taught 4,000 to benefit beings. Daichendra has taught 200,000, and Devendra 300,000. The mantras have various mudras and rites, and each has maṇḍalas from their respective treatise. Those with faith in their own mantra scriptures will doubtlessly succeed as if without effort. When the opposite is true, siddhis are not obtained. They will endure much suffering instead. This was the 10th chapter of the noble Subāhu's questions. Chapter 11. There are 8 famed instructions: alchemy, locating treasure, entering openings in the earth, metallurgy, locating mines, mantra, mineral refinement, and the granting of immeasurable wealth. Mantra, entering openings in the earth, and alchemy, these are supreme because they lead to the abandonment of evil. The granting of wealth, locating treasure, and locating mines are middling. Mineral refinement and metallurgy are the lesser among them. People of strong mind, with zeal for the Dharma, and rich in austerities, are vessels for the first of these. The middling are for those in whom passion predominates, while the inferior are for those beset with dullness. Those who aspire to foster the supreme should first abandon those taught as inferior. Those racked by a painful craving for wealth should make use of the middling set. Through the force of their austerities, they will achieve divine happiness, riches, longevity, strength, a perfect form, erudition, radiant complexion, singular intelligence, and great influence. People who are free of attachment, delight in virtue, who are naturally inclined toward the three jewels, and who forsake evil and engage in recitation, are never far from divine attainments. Powerful as an adamantine weapon, fire, or meteor, mantras grant boons to the human realm. They are unrivaled both in this world and the next, for dispelling suffering and destroying evil. For some, they are like a wish-fulfilling tree. For some, they grant cities. For some, they bring merit. And for others, physical strength and happiness. Mantras grant people the results their minds desire. A mantra, emanating a diversity of forms, protects the entire mass of beings who suffer, live in fear, or are terrified of kings, thieves, and lightning. Whatever their land, and wherever their home, those who recite mantra a little every day, with uncorrupted austerities and focused minds, will eventually succeed in their mantras. First, completing 100,000 recitations specified by the rite, mantrins should next begin the main practice. They will then swiftly obtain the siddhis, and through the rite, long be free from affliction. They should smear their bodies with earth, step into water that is free of dirt, and bathe themselves for as long as they wish. They should emerge facing the east or north, wash their hands and feet with water, squat with their legs open and hands between them, and cup water noiselessly, without making bubbles. They should take 3 sips of water, use the water to wipe their lips twice, close their teeth, and touch them with their tongue. If they cough, they need to rinse their mouth again. Renunciants, men, women, boys, girls, the elderly, and Brahmins, these a mantrin should never touch, nor should a mantrin think about them. Should a practitioner touch them, or be touched by them, the practitioner should bathe again, rinse their mouth ritually, and resume the recitation. The mantra will enter the body of those who delight in ritual purity and recitation, have compassion, have counteracted their greed, eat alms food, and are diligent in solemn activity. Should someone offer them any amount of women, clothing, wealth, conveyances, adornments, unguents, food, drink, or bedding, those who are engaged in practice should refuse them. They should clean their anus 5 times with a heap of earth, their genitals 3 times, their left hand 3 times, and both hands 7. Or they can use soil and water for as long as it takes to make themselves free of filth and odor. Just as the flames of a summertime forest fire burn through a whole wilderness with ease, so does the fire of recitation, stoked by the wind of discipline, send out flames of intense diligence to burn away evil. Just as snow, unable to withstand the glare, melts when struck by rays of sunlight, so the snow of evil dissolves when struck by the sunlight of discipline and recitation. Just as a lamp lit in deep darkness dispels every hint of gloom, so the lamp of recitation quickly clears the gloom of evil amassed in 1,000 lifetimes. If the mantra is effected through recitation and homa, but the siddhis are not still achieved, 1,000 chaityas can be cast from clay or from sand found at a riverbank. Once this practice has extinguished the evil committed over many previous lives, in this very life the mantrin will receive the fruits of merit through mantra's power. The fundamental root of mantra is discipline, followed by diligence and patience, faith in the victors, bodhicitta, the mantra, and an absence of laziness. Just as a ruler possessing the 7 requisites has no trouble subduing any kind of being, so a mantrin possessing these 7 requisites will quickly subdue any evil. After first completing most of the recitation, the mantrin should then perform a homa. Through homa, the boons of mantra are bestowed, and all one's desires are granted. The power of mantra can summon a woman from a distance of 100 leagues away. She will not be a woman, but a young yakshini, who will serve the mantrin in body and deed. When performing a practice focused on desire, it is the young yakshini who bestows the result. Manifesting in the body of that woman, she will serve the desires of the night. Just as men will exhaust their wealth to serve a woman out of desire, so a young yakshini or servant girl can be summoned with mantra and made to serve. Someone fixated on another person's wife is compelled to seek her, tormented by desire. Ignorantly, he indulges his desire for another's wife and receives all manner of evil. Devas, Nagas, Asuras, Yakshas, Gandharvas, and Siddhas, who have faith in the victor, help others, and explain mantra, are empowered by Shravakas, Pracheka Buddhas, Tathagatas, and Bodhisattvas, who have seen the beings of the future who lack a protector. 3 categories of result are taught: superior, middling, and inferior. Flight, entering glorious openings in the earth, shape-shifting, invisibility, marrying a young yakshini, alchemy, magical conjuration, and nocturnal activities are considered to be superior. The middling is becoming a lord of the earth, while the wise have deemed inferior the acquisition of cities and wealth. Dividing, summoning, confining, banishing, killing, healing those stricken by hostile nagas, and all related activities. More specifically, displaying might to embodied beings like nagas, yakshas, and children possessed by grahas is considered exceedingly minor. Ritual rubbing, punching, slapping, hair pulling, reciting into the ear, transferring, banishing, killing, binding, and other acts of subjugation, invocation using the clothing of vijja and mantra, stomping, shaking, staring with a poisoned eye, piercing with a needle, inducing someone to vomit, blowing air, destroying limbs, summoning uragas, repeatedly restricting and suppressing, confounding, feeding poison, transferring poison elsewhere, guiding with an iron hook, expelling poison stuck in the body, feeding someone or depriving them of food, ritually securing the space, sending a messenger, dispelling, signaling a naga, and rousing with the sounds of conches and clay drums. These procedures are explained in the scriptures on poison. There are 80 types of snakes on earth, roaming about causing harm to others. Among them, 20 are hooded, 6 are spotted, 12 are non-venomous, 13 are fierce, and 30 are crossbreeds. There are many other types of poisonous creatures, including frogs, lizards, scorpions, and spiders. Poison can be transmitted by urine, feces, saliva, physical contact, sight, and through the bite of fangs. Those learned in scriptures on poison classify those as high, middling, and low. creatures bite when intoxicated with poison, driven by anger, afraid, startled, hungry, provoked, impelled by yama, or when stepped on. There are 4 ways of biting, which means seized by fangs or cut by teeth. Being bitten by a single fang with blood drawn is called a bite because it results in mild poisoning. When struck by 2 fangs with blood drawn, this is called being eaten. When 3 fangs break the skin, this is called being cut. When the body is struck by 4 fangs and then eaten by the snake, this is called being struck and eaten. In that case, even medicine is a poor antidote. The poison tears through the vital organs like fire. It is the same as a weapon, fire, or piercing heat. Mantra is able to pacify it in ways a healer's art cannot. Just as falling rain instantly dampens an inferno steadily burning its fuel, so poison, like that inferno, is pacified by the use of mantra. If a mantrin understands a poison's potency and earnestly completes the recitation from the mantra rite, this approach will eliminate poisons, so that like a lion among a herd of cattle, they can move freely, fearlessly, among venomous snakes. Devas, Nagas, Asuras, Yakshas, Siddhas, Gandharvas, Bhutas, Pitras, Guyakas, Pretas, Pishachas, Kataputanas, Unmadas, Ojoharas, Chayas, and the many grahas that haunt the earth, eat the fatty meat of humans and drink their blood. They take advantage of those made weary by sorrow, strong desire, and anger, which allow them to enter their bodies. People in their grasp roam around, sing songs, dance, laugh, and grow angry. They feel joy, euphoria, and become talkative, become erratic, and imagine they are devas and asuras, inviting everyone's mockery. Whether out of desire for oblations or merely for sport, these beings possess bodies with an intent to kill. Vajraṇkusha can eradicate Guyakas. He, a supreme Vidya, boon-granting and powerful. The Vidyas of my lineage are also a remedy, those such as fierce Amrita Kundalin and the rest. Grahas do not fear fire or wind. The destroyer of the triple city, shining Surya or Pitamaha, Varuna or the Asuras, the lord of wealth or the king of Yakshas, Garuda, the king of birds, nor the rider of Airavana and destroyer of cities. In the same way they fear a person who wields mantra. Seeing all these Vijja mantras used for bhutas, and knowing every behavior of the grahas, a mantrin will thenceforth tame them free from doubt, and never again have need to fear them. Mantras are taught by he who has strengthened the 3 knowledges, transcended the 3 existences, cast off the 3 faults, and mastered the 3 paths. They are also taught by his heirs, and by the devas and asuras who follow his path. Those who are empowered by the mantras of the Eminent One, the Dispeller of Darkness, and receive the power of the mantras praised by the host of worldly gods, will never falter. Brahma and the gods who heard the Vajra bearer speak, as well as the Asuras, Yakshas, Siddhas, Vijadaras, Nagas, Yakshas, Gandharvas, Guyakas, Pitris, and Bhutas, bowed their heads with faith at his feet, pressed their hands together in devotion, and said, "Amazing that you have such compassion for all beings. Amazing is your manifold activity. Because of this, some see you as a blazing Vajra, some as bearing a club, others holding a disc, yet others as holding a trident or lasso, or as bearing a sword, bow, or cudgel. For some you take a frightening form, bristling with weapons, while others see you in a state of peace. We bow to you who is venerated by devas and yakshas, who takes many forms, but whose form is imperceptible. We bow in homage to you, whose feet are honored by asuras and devas, and to whom the supreme bodhisattvas pay homage. Lord of Vijas with bowstring drawn, we bow to you. We all pay homage and bow to you. From this day forward, we take refuge in you. People who act with integrity in alignment with all you have said will swiftly dispel the gloom of poverty and blaze as brightly as the sun. Limbs that do not fail, minds that do not decline, freedom from illness, suffering, and physical degeneration, these are attained by those with faith in you. After they had spoken these words together, they paid homage again and again to the Vajra bearer. They then promptly entered their aerial palace and departed through the sky just as they arrived. Once the devas had departed, Vajrapāṇi said to Subāhu, "The devas have understood this sutra, but you must make it known in the world." After these words had been spoken, Subāhu rose, bowed respectfully, and said, "I will spread it far and wide in the human realm, for it purifies, destroys evil, and is rich in good fortune." This was the 11th chapter of the Noble Subāhu's questions. This completes the Noble Tantra, the Subāhu's questions.